different forms of being chayav skila. Baloiv yidoini. There's a thing called baloiv and a thing called yidoini. What's the translation of baloiv? What's the translation of yidoini? Says the Gemara, baloiv ze pitoim hamadawa mishechyoi. This is a type of witchcraft that you take up, bring up the mace. You bring up somebody that's dead, and you put him under your arm, and he starts talking from under your armpits. Azoi. Doing that is forbidden. That's called baloiv. That is a serious avera. That's called baloiv. That's baloiv. V'yidoini ze amadavar b'piv. V'yidoini is if you take a bone from a mace, not a mace, a chaya achas, a certain animal, and you put the bone in one's mouth, and that bone starts speaking. You can talk to it, you can converse, you can find out which number lottery is going to win. There's things to do. That's another avera. That's Yedoini. Yedoini is maybe a lashon of Yediyah. I don't know. Yedoini. These two averas are baloiv, which is the bringing up a mace. Bringing up a mace, or Yedoini, putting a bone in the mouth and getting it to talk. This is going to be skila. That's when the person does it. Initial bahem, the man that does the asking, he doesn't get skila. The man that puts the bone in his mouth or brings up the mace and then puts it on his armpits gets skila. But the person that asks the questions, initial bahem, that he only gets a lav. That's only as hara. That's only as hara. Says the Gemara. Okay, it's not the first time in Shas that we talk about baloiv yidoini, or it's not the only place in Shas. It says, how come over here we say two things? Oiv v'yidoini. In Maishno Gabe creases. The first Mishnah creases has 36 cases of creases, which means 36 cases that bring a carbon. This is all the creases in the Torah. The Chayav on Shingos Achatos, and it says there baloiv. Only says baloiv. It misses that yidoini. So it says Maishno like Tani baloiv v'yidoini. Here it says both baloiv and yidoini. Or Maishno Gabe creases. Why Gabe creases? There's only saying Tani baloiv v'shayrei liyadoini. There it doesn't say Yadoini. What's the difference? What's the difference? Says Gemara, Yechad Amar, two answers we're going to have. Rabbi Yechad says, lav of Oiv Yadoini is one lav, so you only have one carbon. So lav of Al Tifnel Oivos Vele Yadoini. It's one pasuk. So if you do both of them, the Hadam Echad, only have one chatas. Because you don't have the lav to be mechalik. You have a misa, separate misas. But the lav, which is the mechayev chatos, then we say that he will only get one. He'll only get one because the lav there is going on both them. Now going on both them, right? That's Rabbi Yechon's teretz. Rabbi Shlokish says no. You know why you don't get carbon for Yidoini? Yidoini fish aim by ma'isa. What's Yidoini? Yidoini, you put a bone and then it speaks. Okay, that's not a ma'isa. That's not an action. It didn't do anything. We'll see the Gemara is go through.
So according to Bertrand, though, if he did only see dining,
I'll get a carbon.
That's how we know.
How should we know that? Right, but that doesn't say in the list. Can't say the list because the list is the only thing. So why? The Gemara is asked why choosing paloi. We're going to ask that in a second. Choose one of them. Right. Says the Gemara. Why do you talk about paloi? As he said. Right? If you do it by yourself, look at Rashi. You don't need back carbon. So why do you choose to say baloif? No, you don't need. What the noise? So why do you choose baloif? Says Gemara. Why should baloif do that? Says Gemara. Should the pasuk by Kra? The Torah started off saying baloif yidoni. The pasuk says oif first. So if you want to choose one, we chose baloif that first. Shlakish by Tabale Amakar. Frank Gemara, why don't you say Rabbi Yechon's teretz sounds a very good teretz. That's why you don't mention both because you only have one. Amar Papa, no. Look at Heva Misa. They are different. You have a Misa when the pasuk says separates them. It says Mois Yomos be'ever Yirgim Oisam the man bomb and doesn't say Yidoni. I mean each one of them is separated like a Misa. Right. Therefore, it is separated. So the Gemara, Rabbi Yechon says, no, chalukah de lav shba chalukah. Chalukah de misa lo shba chalukah. Right. Therefore, it is separated. So the Gemara, Rabbi Yechon says, no, chalukah de lav shba chalukah. Chalukah de misa lo shba chalukah. Chalukah de misa lo shba chalukah. Chalukah de misa lo shba chalukah. It's only called separated if it's separate lamb. Just because the Torah says when it gets Misa, separates them. When it says the skila, that's not called a separation. But negay at the carbon. Good. Says the Gemara. Why do you say Rish Lakish? Rish Lakish sounds like a good teretz. You don't see Doini because no Maisa. No Maisa, why is Rish Lakish? No Maisa. Amalach was sitting in creases. It can't be Rish Lakish. Can't be. But the reason why you admit you Doini because no Maisa. Why? Because the Mishnah in creases doesn't need a Maisa. Says the Gemara. Must sit the creases Reb Kivi. The Mishnah creases is clearly going to feed Reb Kivi as we see soon. Because it says Megadev. One of the lists is Megadev. There's no Maisa. So therefore, you see the crease, the Reb Kivi, the Amalek, you don't need the Maisa. 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 Therefore, you can't tell me the reason is because of no Maisa, because of that's why it doesn't mention it. You don't need Maisa. Go to the Reb Kivi, Lav Sheva Maisa is like it off. And who did he get a carbon? Rish Lakish says, yeah, you're right. It's going to Reb Kivi, but there's a difference between Yedoni and Megadev. Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish, the Hidalai bar Reb Kiva Maisa Rabba. You're right, you don't need a big Maisa. You don't need a big Maisa. Maisa Zutta, boy. Still need a small Maisa. Says the Gemara. So therefore, you don't need, even if you're Reb Kiva, you won't be Chayv a carbon. There's no Maisa at all. You put a bone in the mouth and the bone talks on its own. That doesn't count. Doesn't count.
And the Maisa putting it into your mouth.
Oh, that's not Avera, probably. That's probably not Avera. Right? You start doing the EBGB stuff, and then when he talks, says the Gemara. My Maisa Ikka, Maisa to Megadev, my Maisa Ikka. Which small Maisa do you have by Megadev? Megadev is mentioned in the Mishnah. Megadev is Mevarakas Hashem. Akimas Fasav have a Maisa. Akimas Fasav, moving his lips, that's the Maisa. Akimas Fasav Maisa. Bal Oiv, my Maisa Ikke. What's a Maisa about Bal Oiv? Hakoshas Zerioisov have a Maisa. You put this mace in the armpits, and he shakes his arms. Shakes his arms around. Shaking the arms around, that is the Maisa, that's enough for Bal Oiv. Bal Oiv is mentioned in the Mishnah, not Yedoni. Bal Oiv is mentioned. Why Bal Oiv mentioned? Because Bal Oiv, you have a Maisa, Hakoshas Zerioisov, moving his arms. That's enough for Maisa. Shaking Yedoni, it's only nothing. Nothing. Says the Gemara. Is that a Maisa enough either for your bottom too? I feel our bottom is a Hakoshas Zerioisov. Oi, Bal Oiv. Enough of a Maisa even if you're a bottom? Is that enough Maisa even if you're a bottom? Batanya, Eirei Chayev, El Al Davash Yesh Bei Maisa. You only Chayev only if something as a Maisa. Going? Zibuach. Bryce says, you only Chayev for Zibuach, Kitur, Nisuch, Ishtachavo. How does she does go? Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish says, Man Tanish Ishtachavo. Who is the man that says one is Chayev, a carbon for Ishtachavo? Reb Kivi. Don't in a Maisa. Bowing down is not enough for a Maisa. He goes and bends himself down. No, that's not considered a Maisa. That's not a Maisa. So, well, that's not a Maisa. The feet are bottom. Only if you're Kiva. That's only a Maisa if you're bottom, not if you're Kiva. No, it's you're going to tell me that bowing down is not a Maisa. And Oiv, he moves his arms a little bit. That is a Maisa. How can that be? When they bow down, it's more of a Maisa. That's what Rish Lakish says. Rish Lakish says if you're bottom, bowing down will not be Chayav Harbachatos. It's not no Maisa. No Maisa. Rabbi Yechon says no. Filatem Rabbanon. Rabbi Yechon says no. Even if you're bottom, Fifas Kamos and Rabbanon have a Maisa. Rabbi Yechon says no. Even if you're bottom, bending over is enough of a Maisa. But if you're Rish Lakish, bending over is not enough of a Maisa. If you're bottom, bending over double, Hashtachavo is not a Maisa. Not a Maisa. And you can tell me Bal Oiv, it's a Maisa. Says more Hashtel Rish Lakish Kifis Kamos Lebal Lev Maisa. Madach for fear Rish Lakish. Bowing down is not a Maisa. No. How can Bal Oiv be a Maisa? Hakoshas Zerioisov, the Bal Oiv have a Maisa. Hakoshas Zerioisov is a Maisa. How can that be? Says the one that you're right. Fear Rish Lakish, if you're a bottom, Bal Oiv will not be B'chayv carbon. You Bal Oiv. Not enough for Maisa. The Mishnah Krisis is going to fee Rebbe Kiva. The Mishnah Krisis that mentions Bal Oiv and not Yedoni is going to fee Rabbi Kiva. Kikam Rish Lakish, David Rabbi Kiva. Kim the Chayis, Aval Arbala Loi. But if the Mishnah increases, he's going only Lefi Rabbi Kiva, and not Lefi Rabbanon Loi. Yihach says over there, Mishnah says, Rabbanon argue and say, Yatz Megadif, She'ena Chava Shegas Chatas. Mishnah mentions there in the list, Megadif, and Rabbanon argue Megadif. So Yatz Megadif. Yihach, why does he Yatz Megadif? Should be Yatz Megadif Bal Oiv. If Bal Oiv, the Fi Rabbanon, is not considered a Maisa, so you should say Yatz Megadif Bal Oiv. Yatz Megadif Bal Oiv. And Ula, a Mekatel Shade. You know what Bal Oiv means over there? Whole new pshat. We talk a different type of Bal Oiv. Different type of Bal Oiv. He brings Torahs in front of a Shi and Dalet. He's sacrificing. He's worshiping the Shi and Dalet, the demon, by bringing Torahs to him. That's Tat Bal Oiv. That's Tat Bal Oiv. I'm not sure if I'll agree. It's a Maisa. That's a real Maisa that is worshiping this Shi and Dalet. So Amalei Rava. Mekatel Shade, that's avodah chava, that's avodah zara. That's not oiv. Why is that oiv? That's regular avodah zara. Bringing a carbon to this Shi and Dalet, that's avodah zara. And we mentioned avodah zara in the list. And I'm Rava no. Mekatel Shoavei. There's a new avera called Shoavei Chavarim. It's not really avodah zara. It's bringing together. It's only a lav, and it's not a kus. It's to bring Shi and Dalet to come here. You gather them together by doing this. That's what it says. It's called Shoavei Chavarim. Bring together, even some animals. We'll see soon. You can't bring together through this witchcraft, through this through a spell. Says Gemara, Amar Rava. If that's the case, on Abaya, I'm a katal Shoavei Chavarim, and that's tied oiv. On Abaya, I'm a katal Shoavei Chavarim. A chaver. I'm a katal chaver who. If you're a katal chaver, that's the issa of chaver. It's not no misa. It's not misa. It's only allowed. Why should it be a carbon? Why should it be misa? Normally bringing together animals is only allowed. Says Gemara, and I'll tell you, Amra chaver zeh the skila. Yeah, it's mechaber shin dalas. Amazed, that's skila. But to just bring together animals, wild animals, the chashiv akrabim, through a lachash, you bring together animals to come here, like the machash was said about Oriv. Oriv wasn't the big deal; it was Shoavei Chavarim, just brought animals here. So doing that would only be a lav. But bringing Shi and Dalet together, shade them together, that'll be misa, that'll be skila. Now I'll go a little bit in the sugya of Shoavei Chavarim. Interesting halacha. Talk about Shoavei Chavarim, chiburim, bring them together. Echad chaver gadol, echad chaver cotton. Doesn't make a difference what you bring together. Maybe bringing big animals, wild animals, tigers and lions and giraffes and the like. Bring them together, or you bring small, just bringing insects, bringing bees, flies, mosquitoes. Also chayv. I fill in the chashiv akrabim. Even snakes and scorpions bring together. Yeah, it's a certain spell, a certain word that the person says. I don't know the word. I don't know. And it brings together all these animals. I don't know. Right. So this is very helpful. Hide the summons. What? And they got attracted to him. There was such thing, right? But Nimrod had this thing they brought attracted animals. Right, he wore this thing and says about Noach, yeah.
Maybe I'm mixing it up.
Hilkach hide the tzavit, the beer of akraba. Yeah, these two insects, you bring them together, then it's going to be over. Right. You bring them together, and Rashi makes sure to make a point to say, only if they're not chasing you, it's not dangerous. Kuch nefesh is mutter. Good. Mad the tzavit, the beer of akraba, Avigam the Koloik of Achav Lavizki. Avig is Machav shouldn't hurt him. Awesome. Chayv Chava. The Machav got Shemosam together. Right. Says the Gemara. Rashi, that's the chiddush on the chashiv akrabim. You want it to be away from here. That's still us. It's not a heter. And that's dangerous. Says the Gemara. So the fear of Yechon said that bowing down is going to be considered a ma'aser of kulam. Bowing down is a shtachavo, that's a ma'aser of kulam. The chayv is not. Megadav is not a ma'aser. Ma'aser kivus kavash rabban have a ma'aser. Akimas fasav love ma'aser. Megadav is not a ma'aser, even though the man is moving his lips. And the bowing down is. What's the difference? How did you define a ma'aser? Amarava shiny Megadav. However, yes, to believe. No, it's not a shaytas. Megadav, the real reason why Megadav is not ma'aser, not because what he's saying is what he's doing is not a ma'aser. Because the ikka avera is mitzad the heart. Because somebody's mavarach Hashem and he didn't have kavanah, that he's not over. So the ikka is the leif. That's the reason. A new understanding in Rabbanon. The reason why it's not over, it's not for the ma'aser, because the heart is the ikka. Libel Shemaim is not a problem. That's why it's considered a non-ma'aser. It's really if that's the case, so you have to go through Shas. A new understanding in Dibur is a ma'aser. That's Dibur is a ma'aser. The reason why it's not a ma'aser because it's got to do with the heart. Masiv Rev Zera, Klet Rev Zera, Shteta Mishnah. Yotze Edom Zayman, Shein Ben Ma'aser. Edom Zayman don't get Malkus. Don't get Chatas. Malkus is another reason. Straw, they don't get Chatas. Why? Because no Ma'aser. No Ma'aser. Only say words. These Edom Zayman lied. They moved their lips. There's no Ma'aser. Yotze Edom Zayman. She'em ben Ma'aser. Yotze Zayman, no Ma'aser. Amai, why is not Ma'aser? Unless they believe. It's not with the heart. It's not. You don't have the answer there. It's not belief. Unless they believe. It's not done with the heart. Unless they believe. So why do we say that it's considered no Ma'aser? If a dibber is a Ma'aser. Only reason why it's not a Ma'aser is because it's the heart. It's not a heart. It's not a heart. It's the words. Amarava shad ein zomin ha'av yeshta bekoil. Ein zomin is something else. It's the voice that best can hear. We have to hear the voice. So it's not you're moving your lips. It's nothing. Move your lips and you whisper. It won't be ein zomin. It's the noise that it produces. The noise is not tangible. That's not a ma'aser. Remember, koil b'yechel la ma'aser. Koil if you're b'yechel is not a ma'aser, but it's chasma b'koil of making a sound. Chasma b'koil if you have an animal you want him not to eat, and you yell at him, and because you yell at him, he gets frightened that he doesn't eat. Or when he go, or you put together these two animals and they climb, and you make them walk because you yell at them. Yeah, when he go b'koil, what's going to be? These are laughing in the Torah, and we say Rabbi Yechon Amma Chayev. That's going to be Chayev Malkus. That's called a Ma'aser. Rabbi Yechon Chayev. Why? Because the koil is a Ma'aser. Shlach Shabbat Potter. Rabbi Yechon Chayev. Akimas Piv have a Ma'aser. Akimas Piv, he made a voice, and he had to do that with making a sound. That's a Ma'aser, even though it's not belief. Even it's only a koil. Sorry, it's not a koil. Koil is a Ma'aser. But in Shlach Shabbat Potter, Akimas Piv have a Ma'aser. So why is Edom Zayman different? Really, it's Tamakasha. Why is Edom Zayman different than Chasba B'Koil? Edom Zayman is not called a Ma'aser, and then yelling at an animal is a Ma'aser. What's the difference? Elam Arava Shana Edom Zayman However Yeshdam Beriya. Edom Zayman is different because it's about seeing. It's about they saw, even though the whole thing's not true. The Me'idim that they saw and the Riyah is no Ma'aser. Understand this one? No. But there's no Riyah. The whole thing is sheker. What? Yeah. The Chay will be Chayiv. Huh? No, it's not a Ma'aser. It's not a Ma'aser. That's why not Chayiv. Yeah. He says the Riyah.
Yeah. Right. That's a separate thing. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
But
right. But what he's saying is the reason why they listened to him the first time was because of he claimed the Riyah. Right? That's why it became Edom Zayman. The what? Yeah, that's a Ma'aser. Yeah, it's coming as Chalicha B'yadai. Yeah. Right. However, yes, the Riyah. Ikichua the Riyah shall be even Shiroi Variyah. That's Ma'aser. Cedar is interesting swara. Tarabon. Baloiv. Look at the graphic details about these Baloiv Yudodi, how exactly it functions. Baloiv the Medawa Beina Prokim. You bring up a mace, and he sits on one of the joints in the body. either on his hands or his feet. We made a tzila yadav. That's baloiv. You bring out the mace, and he sits over there. You doini zemnich etzim. You do a certain type of bone, but in his mouth. When and this animal, this bone speaks on its own. That's your doini. That's taich. That's taich doini. So it looks like the mace comes up. He speaks. Meisvei. We have the pasuk says v'hoyu ka'oiv me'eretz koilech. We want to talk about somebody who spoke very quietly. Said like an oiv that you hear the sound from the earth. Mashma. The dead person stays on the ground, underground, and you hear him from underground. Not you bring him up. My lab, the Mishloik Archei. He speaks like from his place. It doesn't come up. That's why it's quiet. So he no, like the Salib Yasmeda Prokim. No, comes up, it just speaks quietly. That's all. It's not very loud. Doesn't have much life. That's what it means. It sounds very far. The voice is not very. Doesn't project his voice because he's dead.
I mean, he's not there, right?
Who?
This is like his spirit.
Spirit, yeah.
Right? There's
No mouth in there.
Right. There's no
So Rashi says, yeah.
presence.
Yeah. So ancient Rashi, right? No life. No, the spirit. I'll say. Toshba, Toiba Ishal Shal. When the Ishal brought up for Shaul HaMelech to find out if they're going to win the war, then it says, Elikim Re'isi Oilim in Aretz. I saw Elikim Oilim in Aretz. So what's Oilim in Aretz means? Looks like, thought, Ma'ilab the Mishtoik Archei. Yeah, they more thought Oilim in Aretz means the words coming up from the ground. Right, so they more no, the Yas Ben Aprokim Mishtoik. Yeah, the Yas Ben Aprokim. Not in Aretz, Ben Aprokim. Says the Gemara. Talk about a Bal Oiv. It's echad amala b'zechuroi. You can bring a bal oiv on a male on his zachris, be'echad nishal begagoyles, or you can use the head of a skeleton, a skull, and you can do it there too. There's a big difference. If you want to put the mace that you bring up in a skeleton, I don't think it has to be of the skeleton of that mace. I don't think so. Look at Rashi. Fat skull. Rashi says, Rashi have a tennis been a mace. I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't know. I thought, yeah, then I'm not convinced.
Yeah, I don't know if you have to ask.
Oh, min
Are
hames.
you asking this mess something about the mess?
No,
Not necessarily.
No.
Yes, you take any skull and it's answering questions about the question.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Right, those specialists. I'm not sure. Right, why should it min hames? Rashi said, Hamatedas min hames. Yeah, but you talk to us Gogolis. You talk to the Gogolis. Ma bein zelazeh. What's the difference between these two ways? Ma bein zelazeh. Ma lev zechuroi ein ole kedarke. Bring it up on zechuroi, then it won't come up. It'll be feet up, backwards. Like the ein ole b'Shabbos, and it doesn't work on Shabbos. Shabbos won't work. If you talk to the Gogolis, ole kedarkoi, you bring it the mace kedarkoi, and it doesn't go by the prokim, right? And the oila works at Shabbos too. Fred, what do you mean oila? They work at oila. What's the oila? Yeah, comes up. Yeah, Zepsa. Pasuk said before, Risi oilan in Aretz. Oila hechel salik. Where did it go to? What do you oila? Bahamunach kamei. By a it means by a gugoilis. You have the skull, then the skull's there, so nothing comes up. So the more a skull will answer normally, like normal, and Shabbos too. Five shaylas do shal Tanarafas Asher Kiva. Tanarafas Asher Kiva. Heilige Reb Kiva, you Yidden are so busy with Shabbos. Oh, Shabbos is your whole life. Shabbos alles. What's happens? Mayim. Shabbos is a day and Friday is a day. You make a big fuss about Shabbos. Mayim. I'm like, okay. Ma Gever be governed. Why are you different than any other people? Who are you, Mr. Tanarafas? Tanarafas Russia. Oh, who are you? Who am I? I'm going to Demara Tzivi. My boss appointed me. He anointed me. He promoted me, gave me a job. So Shabbos Dami, Demara Tzivi. Shabbos also. Hashem promotes Shabbos. What's Shabbos different? Yeah, Hashem made Shabbos different. That wasn't my question. Me Mayim the Idder Shabbos. Prove to me it's Shabbos. Prove to you. Prove to me today's Shabbos. How do you know it's Shabbos? Yeah, maybe another day of the week is Shabbos. Who told you this? How do you work out 7 days? Go figure. Amalei, two proofs. Nahas and Batya and Yechiach. Nahas and Batya and throw stones every day of the week besides Shabbos. Baloiv Yechiach. And Baloiv doesn't work on Shabbos. That one doesn't work on Shabbos. I'll bring another proof, says Rabbi Kiva, to Tanzerafas or Russia. Kira shall Aviv Yechiach. Your father's keva is a good proof. Why? Because the whole week there's smoke coming out of it. But on Shabbos there's no smoke, no Gehenim. She'ein ma'ala Asher b'Shabbos. Amaloi, thank you very much. B'zisoi, b'shosoi, v'kilalasoi. You invaded my father, you embarrassed him, and you cursed him. Rashi makes a point to say curse doesn't mean cursed him. When it's a lashon of giduf is called cursing him. Yeah, giduf. I mean you make fun making them. Yeah. Right. Shoel Oiv said more. Okay, can you please explain to me what's this Shoel Oiv business? Looks like it's Derish Alamason. So Shoel Oiv, I knew Derish Alamason. Shoel Oiv isn't that the same thing as Derish Alamason? There's a pasuk in the Torah called Shoel Derish Alamason that you go ask a mace a question. Now that looks the same as Oiv in this understanding. So the Gemara Shoel Oiv Zed Hainu Derish Alamason Derish Alamason Tanya. So no, Derish Alamason Tanya. Derish Alamason was something else, not with bones and not with skulls, not with them. What's that? Derish Alamason is a Marav Atzmoy. He starves himself, and he goes to sleep in the graveyard. In order that the Ruach Tumah should dwell on him. Which means he starves himself to be nutting from the Olam Gashmi. And gets a Ruach Tumah on him. A few times in Shas you have Rabbi Kiva came to certain psukim, he cried. This is one of them. Mordiga, his ears of Rabbi Kiva. Somebody that starves himself. In order that Ruach Tumah should be sharing him. Sharing out of Ruach Tumah, it works. Somebody that starves himself, he wants to be Ruach Tara. I think it's one of the Sfarim from Beis Ger. Bring us for Yom Kippur. A person doesn't eat 24 hours. Heilig Yom Kippur. For sure get Ruach Tara. Aval Ma asked him, what should we do? It doesn't always work. Why? What should we do? Yeah, we don't have that Ruach because our Averas separate us from Hashem. Shnema. The Averas separate us. Amrava, he bought Tzaddikim Bar Alma. Tzaddikim, if they would want that they would be pure, they could create worlds because they like they're very godly. They are very godly. Shnema ki avanesech avdilan. Averas separate. If not for the Averas, then they would be godly and they'll be able to create worlds, like almost like Lachashat Chava. Yeah, we can make worlds or Alma. Says the Gemara. Rava Bar Gavra, talk about creating things. Rava made a person from Seif Yetzirah. Yeah, make people. You can make people. The people say Maral made. That passion is not necessarily true. We were not so long ago in Prague. So in a safe in Prague, he has a whole theory. Who was the real one that made the Goyim in Prague? Was Rav Victor Kara. One of the Balatoisus, he has proofs. He got confused with the Maral. But Rav Victor Kara, which was went to his cave there in Prague, he was the one that made the Goyim in Prague. There's a lot of proofs that it wasn't the time of the Maral. But I always say it doesn't make that much of a difference because Maral could have made a Goyim. If he did, it didn't. So he didn't. So and he could have. So they say they're from documents from different things that it wasn't the Maral. Okay. No. But Rava did. Shot at the cabinet of Zera, center of Zera. Have a commissioner by day. He spoke. They don't respond. Amalei milchavraya at. You were created from witchcraft. So he says, yeah. Go back to your earth. Goodbye. Every Erev Shabbos, they're reading Seif Yetzirah. In Birvili Egla Tilsa, they were creating this type of egel to eat it for the Suda Shabbos. A pretty cheap way of making food for Shabbos. And they created this animal. Okay. I'll know. It's one of the some of both. The name is yourself. Serious service.